Okay, Emmy lovers, the nominations are out. No more surprises. It's now between Emmy night and we've got to pick the winners. And with us, we've got Mike Schneider from Variety. We have Pete Hammond from Deadline. We have Libby Hill from Indiewire. And I'm Tom O'Neill from...
We got it.
Look, the biggest surprise to me on Emmy morning was how well The Mandalorian did. You know, last year it got a surprise for best nomination. It was nominated for best drama series, and we all went, "Wow, we didn't see that coming." Now it's back. And it's got nominations. I think 3 for acting. It's got writing. It's got directing. We thought, all of us pundits, I think universally, thought this was the year of The Crown. It's lost 3 times, but now it just seemed like it would reign over this year's ceremony. Literally, do any of you think that The Mandalorian can unseat The Crown?
I mean, I don't know, but you might. Mike, please.
No, Libby.
Please start.
I think anything's possible. Don't discount, by the way. I mean, the Crown had its best year ever with 24 nominations. That's still nothing to sneeze at. So I do think, the Crown is still the one to beat. But Mandalorian, to me, the most surprising part of that is how little Disney Plus campaigns. Honestly, there's no real infrastructure at Disney Plus. They don't do the same kind of, just out there banging the drums the way the other networks and streamers do. So the fact that Disney Plus had 71 nominations, WandaVision, I think, surprised me even more. At least we knew that Mandalorian was a force to be reckoned with, pun intended, by the way. But because of last year, but WandaVision, I mean, killed it a lot bigger than I was expecting.
I think WandaVision did really well because I think it crossed over into the older voter who may have seen it with its tribute to the glory days of television. And I think that had real appeal in that kind of a show. Also, I think there's a lot of crowd pleasers this year, unusually, in any kind of awards thing like this. We're seeing The Boys nominated in drama series, a superhero show. And all of this kind of thing that normally is scoffed at by the Emmys, who are snobs in general, and you would think would go for The Crown. Well, they will probably still go for The Crown, although I would say Netflix seems to be a little snake bit when it comes to major categories. Something always seems to come in and threaten their road to glory, and that could happen here again. Mandalorian clearly has growing strength, no question about it, but I do think maybe it's because of the pandemic or something. There's a lot of popcorn stuff here nominated.
That's fair. Mike, I have to agree with you that WandaVision was the big surprise for me. I thought it had a ceiling of 16 nominations. I kind of looked at what Mandalorian did last year and I was like, okay, well, maybe Elizabeth Olsen, maybe Paul Bettany, but holy crap, did that overperform. I was kind of gobsmacked by it. I'll just be honest. As for The Mandalorian, it didn't surprise me that it had so many nominations. It's such a tech heavy show. It did so well last year in the creative arts at the Creative Arts Emmys. And it's a pandemic year. We're seeing a decreased amount of kind of eligible shows across the board. We're missing some big players, no Succession, things like that. So Mandalorian wasn't a surprise, and I do think it could upset The Crown. I don't think it will upset The Crown at this point. But honestly, and I have to tell you, the big story in drama series for me is sort of the resurgence of The Handmaid's Tale. It's difficult to overlook. I mean, when you break down the numbers for Handmaid's Tale every season, it looks like there was a huge dip there. Because one season it had 11 nominations. But the thing about that season is that it was split over 2 Emmy seasons. So it had 11 and it had 10 nominations. So this year it gets 21 nominations. The Emmys still like this show. It's in there, and this most recent season 4, it spurred a lot of conversation. It did some things that people have been waiting to see for years. Again, this is The Crown's to lose, but I think we might actually have a race or or the material to pretend it's a race at this point, which I didn't know we would have after nominations.
I agree, and I would point out that The Handmaid's Tale is actually the reigning champ in the drama series category because it won the last time, and since then, Game of Thrones and Succession aren't in the race here, so it's really the last winner in this category that's in this race this year.
And remember, it was the first streaming service show to win Best Series, comedy or drama. So it was beloved right from the beginning. I think this is a perfect example of a category that changed prior to nominations and now. So right before nominations came out, the predictions across Gold Derby had the two crown gals practically tied, Emma Corrin and Olivia Colman. Now Olivia Colman's dropped down to 4. Elizabeth Moss from Handmaid's is at number 2. And here's the curious one. Now, these are the experts' predictions. I'm not reading, the masses. This is just among us experts. And MJ Rodriguez is in 3rd. She hasn't been nominated before. It's the first trans, of course, person nominated in a lead acting category. And then there's Uza Aduba, who wins everything all the time. And if you remember the early installments of In Treatment, back when Diane Wiest was on it and the rest of it, kept winning all the time at the Emmys. And suddenly she's in the race for this magic Emmy magnet show. Wow, what a race.
Yeah, and I got to say, with both MJ and Elizabeth, that is the power of those shows' finales hit at right the perfect time. We were all talking about both that Handmaid's finale and the Pose finale right when people were voting, made an impact. Those were both stunning, stirring ends. I mean, Handmaid's Tale isn't over as a series yet, but Pose, amazing series finale. And so, timing can be everything. And this is a case where timing really helped. I think both of those performers in the rankings and will continue to. One other thing I wanted to mention. So drama is a little more of a race than we expected. Let's talk about Limited, because Limited is suddenly a race. We were going into this months ago saying Queen's Gambit, Queen's Gambit, Queen's Gambit, but this is a race.
Yeah,
this is now too close to call.
Yeah, it's unprecedented when you have Queen's Gambit that has won every single award you can win, and the Emmy is the only thing that they haven't yet, obviously. But I wouldn't bet the farm on it at this point. I do think this is a very tight race in many ways, and I May Destroy You clearly showed at the BAFTAs its strength there, and within all its nominations here. And Mara of Easttown just came on like gangbusters as well, and this could be so close. You could have some sort of surprise pop.
And then WandaVision broke in like Libby.
Yeah, that WandaVision, like Libby was mentioning, that could be the. Because like Pete mentioned, WandaVision is a celebration of television. And so if you're a TV Academy member and you look at WandaVision, you say that was just an amazing piece of television about television partly. That's a fun race. But I'm most interested. I May Destroy You, more than a year ago that show came out, but it's had this resurgence because of the BAFTAs, because of Peabody's. People are sort of talking about it.
Word of mouth,
So it's kind of come back. But then Mayor of Easttown, timing again, everything. We were all talking about it right at the end of May, and so it's still fresh in people's minds. So I think all of these could hurt Queen's Gambit.
Yeah.
Underground Railroad's in there too. Chris Beecham, our managing editor, has a theory that if one thing is unlike all the others, and there are many Oscar examples of this, 4 British actresses against 1 American and the American wins, that kind of thing. The WandaVision would be the one apple in the bag of oranges here. I mean, it would be the one thing so unlike everything else, it could help it a great deal. And the Underground Railroad got in. We were happy to see that. But let's talk about actress now. We were assuming, many of us, that Queen's Gambit star Anna Taylor-Joy was a front runner here. Now, Kate Winslet has pulled ahead of her in terms of the number of votes from our experts team. And then Michaela Cole gets in 3rd place. And then whoever thought Elizabeth Olsen would be nominated for an Emmy, but there she is for WandaVision. And then somebody a lot of us, meaning me, thought that was going to be the front runner of this Emmy season, and that is Cynthia Erivo playing Aretha. That just seems like natural Emmy magnet stuff, and she's in 5th place. Wow, what a lineup! What do you guys think? They like Oscar-winning movie stars, so you might say, okay, well that means Kate Winslet, but they also like the hot new thing.
Yeah, I sort of think Kate Winslet will pull this out. Plus, she does interviews and she's out there. She knows how to campaign. And I think that campaigning aspect of the Emmys has become very important. You can tell the shows that got nominated were ones that were out there in many cases, like Handmaid's Tale. And Elizabeth Moss was doing all kinds of interviews and things, very front of mind. And with all the nominations, the way they came down, it was clear the Academy members were driven toward certain shows this year.
Libby, what do you think for lead actress in
it's weird. My gut is telling me with Michaela Cole getting nominated so many places, I have to believe she's going to win one of those. Now that's the kind of logic that doesn't apply to award shows at all, but I keep trying to make it work. So I wouldn't be surprised to see her win. And honestly, I wasn't surprised by Elizabeth Olsen at all. Though I wish she had gotten nominated for Sorry for Your Loss, because that was what she's doing on WandaVision, but better. But yeah, so I think Elizabeth Olsen is a real disruptor here. They obviously really liked WandaVision. Kate Winslet is always a threat, but has won the Emmy before. And it's hard to look away from Anya Taylor-Joy. Like literally and figuratively, she is Queen's Gambit. So if there is that affection still there, it's based in her. It's a wild category, and I wish I was more confident about it. Mike, what about you?
Isn't she nominated for hosting Saturday Night Live 2 or something? She has other Emmy nominations.
Well, there's a lot of double nominees, especially when it comes to hosting SNL, which is apparently a big comedy opportunity for Toast to get nominated for comedy series.
Yeah. I hope that's how SNL now pitches potential hosts. Is hey, you'll probably get an Emmy nomination too. So
you'll probably get an Emmy nomination, but Dave Chappelle will win. Is how they should start selling.
Okay, now Libby, keep going, because we're going to go into actor now, and your buddy Paul Bettany leads the pack with WandaVision.
I'm not as sold on Bettany. Like, I don't know that Vision is a very dynamic character.
Oh my God, he was brilliant.
Oh, I mean, he was good. He was fine. I did love when he was doing the older sitcom stuff, obviously. Very big Dick Van Dyke.
Was great. He was so great in that. Yeah.
Right. But that wasn't every episode. That was 2 episodes. So I let me pull up the category, because I have the memory of no one. I don't remember anything.
Hugh Grant, and then there's the Hamilton stars, Leslie Odom and Lin-Manuel, and then Ewan McGregor for Halston.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, maybe it is Bettany's to lose.
It could be, because I do think, with the Undoing, that came down a lot too. People just didn't like the ending. They didn't, creatively, it's sort of, pooped out, and so Hugh Grant was sort of the consolation prize, I think, for the Undoing. They didn't even give one to Nicole Kidman, which is pretty surprising. They seem to really like Hamilton at the TV Academy. I mean, Hamilton is great. I think the big question was, what was the TV Academy going to accept it as a TV project, since it was a stage project that was filmed and originally was going to be a film. So TV is sort of the third arm of Hamilton, but nonetheless, Hamilton still came to play. So Lin-Manuel Miranda, he is pretty undeniable. And, if Emmy voters think this is our chance to get a little piece of the Lin-Manuel Miranda party, then that could be the real option.
Michael, you are forgetting the Tony Awards. And what happened there is Lin-Manuel lost his co-star, Leslie Odom, who played Aaron Burr.
Yeah, the whole thing is a sham. They should not have allowed this. I've written this endlessly. I asked the Academy about it. They did a runaround on, well, their performance was, they knew they were doing a performance for the cameras, and the lighting had to be changed a little bit. Baloney. It should have been in a special merit category if it's anything. 7 nominations for all the actors there 5 years after they did this is ludicrous. It's cut out all these other people from nominations this year. I think it was a huge mistake, and they need to relook at all of these rules.
Yeah.
Yes, Pete. Yes. Co-sign 100%. Like, absolutely, it blew up the limited categories. No. They've done a bad thing, scored him with the water bottle. No. I totally agree.
They have a category for best performance in a variety special, and they got rid of it, back in 2006 or something. And if Hamilton is defined as a variety show, then the performers should be defined as performers in a variety show and compete against each other.
Yeah.
It's like the host of Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
There, I'm done.
Yeah, no, it's a sham. I think they know that too, even though they won't admit to it directly. And I am willing to say that a lot of those nominations for Hamilton came about. They didn't even see the Disney Plus thing. They just remember it from Broadway when they saw it there.
Yeah. Yeah.
One thing that's changed dramatically since nominations came out is, and we knew it among us experts because we've been paying careful attention to it, and I don't think it really hit the masses of people who voted Gold Derby, like the 3,000 or 4,000 people who did, and that was the ascendancy of hacks. The flight attendant was considered number 2 behind Lasso by everybody, and it was just an assumption. Kaylee Cuoco had never been nominated for Big Bang, and it's a very, very beautifully stylized show. Flight Attendant, it looks almost like a film, and it's very well done. But Hacks, of course, my God, what a show. It's so hilarious. It's about show business. It's got a million jokes, a little winks to the audience about the business, and it's brilliant. It's now ranked among the experts as in second place to win Best Comedy Series. Everybody among our group is still betting on Lasso to win, but the other order changed dramatically. And whereas prior to nominations, Kaylee was ahead of Jean Smart to win Best Actress in a Comedy, but now Jean Smart is way out front. 12 experts bet on her. Nobody bets on anyone else in our crowd.
Yeah. If I've been saying this to other folks, if you're HBO Max and you've got the 2 kids and you thought, Flight Attendant was your favorite kid, suddenly you're pushing Hacks. Come on over. You're the new favorite. Sorry, Flight Attendant, but the other kid's looking pretty nice right now. So it is interesting, but yeah, Jean Smart is undeniable.
Yeah, Hacks is just an exceptionally good show right out of the gate. I'm so impressed with it, about the writing, everything. They were very smart. I'm in the Academy and in the writers branch, and they were very smart to only enter the pilot script on that list you could choose.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. Interesting.
Yeah, and while others, Ted Lasso and others, do multiple scripts. And I always think zone in on one if you can. And I thought they were smart from the outset in doing that. But I just think it's such a brilliantly written show. I think Ted Lasso will win. I'll tell you why. Apple's so smart. They've got the premiere of the 2nd season going right as people are voting. So they're going to see a whole new slew of Ted Lassos. It's very much out front with the nominations. But if anything can upset it, it would be Hacks. Simply, I think, Tom, you mentioned the show business aspect, which again, is something that I think got WandaVision all the way there. And I think
also it's such a clever spoof in a kind of homage way to Joan Rivers.
Yeah,
I worked with her for 12 years on those red carpet shows, and you could love her one day and hate her the next. But boy, she was a character. And
as you freeze, Tom.
Gene Hackman.
I gotta say, as an early Hacks adopter, if you go back and look at my nominations, like the second I saw those screeners, it was over for me. I mean, yes, there's Ted Lasso, but this is another one where it's like, oh, now we might have a race. This was a great show. This is a great show, and I'm excited to see season 2. But yeah, this is a comedy. And not everything that gets nominated in comedy series is a comedy all of the time. But yeah, Jean Smart, this is Jean Smart's to lose. I don't think she will. I am in full support of the Jean Smartaissance. Like, bring it on. Give her the award for Mayor of Easttown too. Like, I don't care. I want it all. And yeah, this is good. I'm all about tax.
I agree with you again, Libby. We're agreeing a lot today.
Oh, stop agreeing with each other.
Twinsies.
Boring
Sorry,
show.
Tom. No fighting today.
Oh, we want a little fighting.
I can.
Ted Lasso. It got more nominations than any freshman comedy series in history. It has heart. It has an oddity to it. Charm. It takes a couple episodes to get used to and warm up to, but once you do, you really take the ride as a viewer. It really delivers. It got out there early, and as Pete was saying, it's pulling the old HBO trick now and the old FX trick, which is show new episodes while the last season is being voted on. Very smart campaigning maneuver. What do you guys think of Ted Lasso?
Yeah, I will not be upset if Ted Lasso is up on stage on September 19. It's
Over and over again.
Yeah, I mean, I think Sudeikis is a given. I mean, Hannah Waddingham is fantastic.
Yeah, she steals the whole show.
Yeah, so I will not be mad to see Ted Lasso coronated on September 19 because it is the show of the moment. It's the show that we needed right now. It's the show that we've all been talking about for the past year. It defines the year in TV. So it makes a lot of sense for that show to ultimately go the distance.
It's smart comfort food. I think Mike's right on that. It's the right show at the right time. It's a feel-good show. He's such a nice character, and that's so different. And that's something that in the coming out of, although I don't think we've come out of it because he won't let us come out of it, the Trump era, it's so refreshing to see a show like this come along. Whereas Hacks, so brilliantly done, but I mean, she is not a likable person.
No, she's a horror show.
Yeah.
And and Hannah Waddingham from Lasso is diabolically evil. She's always plotting revenge on her ex-husband. But the first thing she said to me when I interviewed her was, "Where does all this talk come from that my character is Darth Vader?" She's evil as hell. She does these horrible things, but yet she does show her vulnerability and her heart and the rest of it. But when you talk to the actress herself, she doesn't like that pointed out.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, because in a way, I mean, she's not evil as hell. You soon learn that
Yes.
there is motivation behind what she's doing, but and she resists the Ted Lasso charm for the longest time. But even she isn't immune to it, and the relationship between her character and Juno Temple's character is sort of refreshing to see. Two women who actually uplift each other and aren't fighting, aren't sort of opposed to each other. There's just a lot to really like that's unique and special about this show. But come on, we're burying the lead here. Emily in Paris. Let's talk about Emily in Paris for a second.
Okay, let me admit something. I voted for Emily in Paris. I think it's a very well made.
Pete, what?
I am an example. I am an example of an Academy member supporting that show. I don't think it's going to win, but I really love Lily Collins. I interviewed her for my Actors Side thing. I interviewed Darren, a star too. I think what they're doing is pure escapism. No, it's not your typical kind of thing you'd think that they'd go for. It's not heavy or anything, but it's got a nice kind of frothy feel to it that I particularly liked. I'd seen every episode.
Pete, when it got these nominations at the Golden Globes, it got the Golden Globes kicked off NBC.
Yeah, and who's complaining about it, critics and things, that's fine. Clearly, I have company within the Academy on this, which surprised me, quite frankly, because I thought the beating that this show took, I didn't quite understand, but I thought, well, that's killing it. And it didn't. And so that was interesting to me.
Well, what happened was, just to explain to people who aren't so deep into this business, is it's against the rules at HFPA to fly HFPA members to junkets.
Yeah, they got out
to give accommodations.
That's not the show, the quality of the show. That's a whole thing about the HFPA. And,
and their rules and bylaws and stuff. And what they did in this case was the studio flew them over, the members, to London, I believe it was, and then gave them these really posh accommodations, really first class, over the top, and way over the normal permitted budget. And that triggered a million alarms that now has got the Globes kicked off. I think they'll be back. I think that they've still got to work the inner politics out of the of HFPA's bylaws and membership. But boy, was it strange to see it in the Emmy nomination.
Yeah, well, because now the TV Academy has exonerated the HFPA. So
I don't think the TV Academy pays any attention to what the HFPA did in this instance. I think they just watched the show. It came out earlier. I had seen via basically my wife, who started watching it, and I started watching it with her. And I thought it was a fun show. It's a nice show. Look, here's the problem. I think you guys may agree with this. It was very hard to fill out a ballot this year in comedy series and drama series when there have to be 8 nominees. And it's very hard to find them. I found. So I just go with the ones I liked, and that was one of them. So there you have it.
Wait, I want to know if Libby is still on the Pete train now. If this is another,
may not be.
Oh no! Like, I didn't wait for a station. I just jumped off while we were still rolling. Sorry, Pete.
Thank God.
It was a fun ride. It was a fun ride. I will say, first of all, I know we got to wrap up. But first of all, no one should pay any attention to what the HFPA does, especially the Emmys. Second, the big thing about Ted Lasso, and the reason I think it's so strong, is because it was a pure word of mouth play. People saw it, they watched it, and they told their friends. And so it kept building throughout the summer. That's why we were still talking about it in December. That's why we were still talking about it in April. And that's why it was a huge success at the Emmys. And I have no reason to expect it won't do the same in September. Okay.